I hesitate to ask, but who hasn't heard or seen of Madeleina Kay? That's a good start. Oh, no. Okay, right. Right, Madeleina, she's the official EU Supergirl. It's quite a title, yeah. She's a writer, illustrator, a musician, and campaigns to promote the European Union and for the UK to remain a member. She's a member of the Liberal Democrats, is often seen on TV, and is very active on social media. In 2018, this shows something I learned this morning, she was voted Young European of the Year by the European Parliament. And that was honouring her for her pro-European efforts in the UK and beyond. So, hand over to Madeleina.
Okay, so despite my 3 years of experience campaigning, I managed to make the rookie error of leaving my guitar lead at home in the other guitar case. So we've had to try and do something with microphones. But if you can't hear the guitar very well, that's why, and I apologise. I'm going to talk for a little bit as well because quite a lot of people actually say to me, when they've heard me speak, they're like, "Oh, wow, you can actually talk. You actually have a brain. You don't just sing songs and do silly pictures." There's a reason and a theory and a strategy behind what I've been doing for the last 3 years. And, I've had quite a big impact because I've taken a slightly alternative approach, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I totally appreciate that. I like to think of myself as political Marmite. People love me or they hate me. And on both sides, actually, I've got Remainers that don't like my approach, and I've got Leavers that, have shaken my hand and said, "Well done for what you're doing, but I don't agree with you." Can't win them all over. So some of the things that I do, I have brought with me, and they're in the table in the cafe, so if you want to get them at the end, my Reasons to Remain posters. This is a campaign that I ran last year, and we crowdfunded £5,000 to print and distribute these across the UK to all the local groups. And it's just a really easy resource to kind of simply communicate the benefits of EU membership that most people don't know about, and they still really aren't talking about, even in the anti-Brexit campaigns, why we want to stay part of the EU as a positive vision for the future. It's the wide-ranging reasons from, fundamentally the peace that the EU has brought to our continent. That's the first one on the list because I think it's the most important, particularly when you're looking at the threat that is being posed in Northern Ireland with the Irish border. I would say if one life is lost as a result of Brexit, it's a price it's not worth paying. And there's a whole range of reasons, including things like action on climate change and Erasmus Plus, which is the EU's most popular programme, that I think is really one of the biggest selling points of the EU, that it provides these opportunities for young people to grow and to develop and to create better futures for the whole continent. And we end with prosperity because at the end of the day, the economy is going to be damaged by any kind of Brexit. And if you look at the statistics, a soft Brexit, which has never really been on the table, would be 2% damage to GDP growth. That's the same impact that the global financial crisis had, and that led to 10 years of austerity. Theresa May's deal was something like 4%, 4 to 6% damage GDP growth. Crash out no deal, which is where Boris Johnson is taking us, that's 8% damage to GDP growth. And I cannot understand why the Tory party is advocating something that is damaging to the economy and against business. How the Tory party has gone from the party of law and order and business to having a leader that says fuck business and is having to claim that he's not lied to the Queen and broken the law by proroguing Parliament is utterly beyond me, this situation in the UK right now. These are stickers, by the way, they're commemorative Brexit stamps. And we've been sticking them on post boxes across the UK, and they say first class line Tory Pratt. Pratt means an idiot, a fool, but it also means a bottom, which I think is quite appropriate for Boris Johnson, because everything that comes out of his mouth is. Yeah, I mean, my campaigning has always been explicitly pro-EU. This is my vision, this is my mission as the EU Supergirl. I've created a character and I've narrativized my approach to campaigning to make it more shareable, like a story. You know, this is how we communicate in our societies. We tell stories to each other. So that's what I've tried to do with my campaigning. I've constructed a character, an identity. I'm playing this game of identity politics, which is exactly what Boris Johnson and Donald Trump are doing, right? They are trying to be as divisive and notorious as possible. They want you to hate them as much as they want the leavers to love them. And remember that when you engage with their narrative of hate, when you attack them, you're actually feeding their egos. The worst thing for them is to ignore them and to focus on what you want. And what I want is a positive, happy future for my generation and for everyone in the UK and everyone across the continent. Because we are in this together. And I think quite often Brexit is so focused on the UK all the time. It's actually quite a selfish campaign that's being run, because we're not actually thinking about the EU and the other countries and the impact that we're having on them, and how much this uncertainty that we are in and this lingering uncertainty is damaging to them as well. So my mission is to promote the EU, the benefits of the EU, but also to try and rebuild bridges with our European partners and neighbours, because I think a lot of damage has been done to those friendship ties, and I think this will undermine future collaboration, cooperation, and the unity that has been achieved through the EU, regardless of what happens with Brexit. And to a certain extent, I feel like in the last month and a half, the campaigning has become so much more toxic. And it's become so much. It's not about the EU anymore. Brexit's not about the EU. It's about this internal conflict in our political parties. David Cameron has just come out saying yesterday that it was. What did he say? Psychodrama, that was it, a Tory party psychodrama. The thing that got me was that he's finally come out and admitted, right, or not exactly admitted, but said that Brexit is a complete disaster and a complete mess. After 3 years of sort of saying, well, I was right to call the referendum, blah, blah, blah. But the reason for it is, right, the reason is because he wants to promote his memoirs. That's why he's come out and admitted it and called out Boris Johnson and Michael Gove, because he wants to sell more books. Always selfish motives with these politicians, in the Tory party at least. I'm continuing to campaign to promote the EU, but I'm quite aware that it's a long-term goal and a long-term mission, because the immediate concern in the UK is our democracy and the way it's been hijacked by Boris Johnson. And I think there's a huge amount to do in terms of re-educating the British public about what the EU actually is and what it does to benefit our lives. And I think that's a very long-term goal, and we've got to get the schools on board with it. You know, I was never taught about EU. I wasn't even taught about UK politics. I didn't understand what happens in Parliament. It wasn't until the Brexit vote that I found out anything about the EU, or even it became politicised. I have joined the Lib Dems as a member, but I'm not really party political, and I just think that we need to work together to find solutions that benefit the people, because it's the people that matter in all of this. It's our lives, and we need to minimise suffering, and we know that Brexit is going to cause untold suffering to the people that actually are already suffering the most in the UK. So anyway, I'm going to do some music for you, because I believe that the way to heal divisions in the UK is through dialogue, and it's through learning to listen to each other and learning to speak to each other in a different way, because there's a lot of rage and anger, and people are directing at each other. And I think that learning to listen more and learning to speak to each other differently is going to be really important. And I think that culture is a platform where those dialogues can happen and that healing can begin. So the first song I'm going to do is called Don't Hold Back, and it's about, we've got this countdown for Brexit, 31st of October now. There's no time to lose. Now's the time to stand up and make your voice heard, because every voice counts, no matter how small it is. Every action counts, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not doing enough if you're making some effort. We're against the tide, but if you don't try, you'll never win. Power comes through courage, determination to never give in. So play an honest hand, keep listening and learning, and flush it down into their minds. The tables will start turning. Don't hold back, it's not over yet. Don't hold back, you know you will regret. Don't hold back, it won't be easy to forget. Don't hold back when nothing is set in stone. Your voice counts and it matters if you speak, you're not alone. Together we're strong, alone we are. You're not alone. You're not alone, you know you're not alone. There's no time for wasting. Now is the time for how we stand. Honesty, passion, and truth. See this deadlock start to move. So stick to your guns, keep sight of the target. The battle ahead ain't for the faint-hearted, but where there's a will, there is a way, and we will fight to the final day. Don't hold back, it's not over yet. Don't hold back, you know you will regret. Don't hold back, it won't be easy to get. Don't hold back when nothing is set in stone. Your voice counts and it matters if you speak, you're not alone. Together we're strong, alone we are weak. You're not alone. You're not alone, you know you're not alone. So now's your chance to take a stand. It's time to hold those guilty to account. There's a special place in hell for what they brought about. Don't hold back, it's not over yet. Don't hold back, you know you will regret. Don't hold back, it won't be easy to forget. Don't hold back, don't hold back when nothing is set in stone. Your voice counts when it matters. If you speak, you're not alone. Never be strong and lonely. You're not alone. You're not alone. You know you're not alone. You're not alone. One of the things that I found with music videos, because often like my music and my artwork is dismissed as not taking it seriously or whatever. But one thing I found about the music videos, it is the best way to wind up the trolls. There's nothing that seems to get them angrier more than someone singing a song about Brexit. And I mean, I definitely get my unfair share of abuse online. It's insane, like how much what I do triggers them. But I think also because I'm a young woman, there's a huge amount of sexism and also ageism as well. And I mean, I've had it all. Every kind of abuse you can imagine, I've had it. Actually, there was a new one today. I do actually quite enjoy when they come up with a new kind of like creative approach, because normally it's just stuff like, oh, get back to the kitchen, love, and politics is for big men, go make a lasagna, or, you know, words that I can't repeat in front of children, and, you know, I've had rape threats, death threats, all of that lot. One of my favourites that I ever got was, because I was waving a pride flag alongside an EU flag, someone tweeted me, my opinions on Brexit aren't going to be changed by a blue-haired adolescent waving a gay EU flag. To which one of my followers replied, what's the difference between a gay EU flag and a straight EU flag? So yeah, and today I had a new one which I thought was quite funny, which was, are you going to make a calendar for Christmas, posing in all the EU capitals in a bikini? Demeaning me through objectification. That's a new one. So yeah, the music really triggers them, and I know whenever I release like a new music video, I collaborate with a videographer on them, as well as a producer for the tracks. Is that I will get like a whole load of abuse for like the next few days and stuff. The weird thing that's happened recently, and I mean the last 6 weeks, kind of since Boris Johnson took the premiership, is that it's been constant trolling. It doesn't matter what I'm doing or what I'm putting out, it's constant. Like half my notifications, only on Twitter, I might add, is abuse. And that makes me think that since Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, there is coordinated trolling going on. Somebody's funding it, somebody's organising it, and they are using some really dirty tactics to try and basically what they're trying to do is shut me up by taking me apart personally. And the thing that really upsets me about that, because I've had it all and I'm quite strong, thick skin, is that it puts other people off speaking out. Particularly other young women I know have said to me, I cannot do what you do, I cannot post about politics because I don't want to receive that hate. And the thing to bear in mind is that when people are making abusive comments and trolling and hate and things like that, is that it's more a reflection on them than it is on the person that's directed to. And it's your choice whether you receive an insult, just as it's your choice if you receive a gift. If someone gives you a gift and you say, oh, sorry, I've already got one of those, don't need it, you keep it. It's theirs to keep, it's not yours. If someone gives you an insult, you don't have to take it, let them keep it. So now I'm going to do a song that's a bit more positive, and it's about Europe, and I actually wrote it when I won Young European of the Year. It's called We Are Europe, and a little bit of it I sing in French. Journeys to enchanted places make memories on the way. People talking in different languages, we don't know what they say. The smile is universal, So share one anywhere. Friendship start with laughter, and then happiness is here to stay. We are Europe, we are one. Nations come together, standing strong. United in diversity, on the pillars of our history. Striving for equality, student solidarity. We are Europe, we are one. Follow winding tracks, landscapes in the distance. The pursuit of happiness is sure to meet resistance. Nothing is worth achieving if there is no fight to be had. So put your faith in people and you'll see we're not all so bad. Nous sommes là-bas, nous sommes un. Les nations tous ensemble sont plus forts. Unité par la diversité, sur l'histoire partagée. En quête d'égalité, ensemble en solidarité. Nous sommes là-bas, nous sommes un. Put the past behind you, our future is ahead. It's okay to make mistakes and regret what you have said. Together we can make things better if we learn to talk and listen. Founded on forgiveness, a flag with golden stars that glisten. This is the coast of Europe, where the blood rushing through our veins. Like water coursing down the river, flow high up the heavy rain. We are Europe, we are one. We are Europe, we are one. Right, I don't want to talk too long, so I'll cut that. Thanks for listening. And remember that we're not beaten until we give up. Don't let them silence you with this democracy nonsense. This is democracy which is happening right now in this room. It's your right to stand up for your beliefs, to fight for your future, even if you're in a minority. And I don't believe we are anymore. So keep fighting and we will stop Brexit and we will turn this around.